Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This is Far From Home. I'm Joe Tate.
This is Alex Fargo. How you guys doing today?
And we are the Super BodySlam Bros, here to bring you the latest coverage on WWE's Monday Night Raw. Man, what a show.
Yeah, you're not joking. I had to watch it 3 times because it felt like anytime I did a snack break or go use the restroom or something, I missed very pivotal things. There was a lot going on.
It was chock full. There was so much going on. And I do find that, like, normally, before we started this endeavor, you just watch wrestling and enjoy it for what it was. But now we've got to, like, pay attention and pick it apart and jot some notes down. And it's like last night proved that, like, you're going to have to watch this several times. It was a heck of a show. It was chock full, and they forwarded so many storylines. It was really great.
There was layers. There was layers to the dip. There was a lot. Oh, yeah.
Like, onion me, baby. Onion me. Before we get into the show, I do want to give a quick shout out and thanks to all the folks on my personal social media feeds that have liked and shared the show page and given the first episode a listen. I appreciate you guys, and keep the love coming because we can use it.
Yeah, we love hearing from you all, and please follow us, find us on our social media networks, and let us know what you think, because we're doing this for y'all, and we hope y'all like it.
But also, if you don't like it, keep it to yourself, because I don't really care. I love it. All right, we're going to start. Monday Night Raw opens up. They are live from Salt Lake City, Utah, baby, and I think that's important to remember where these shows are at on a weekly basis. It's such a big part of, even it goes back to even the territory days where, like, where you were is important. So we were in Utah this week, and we opened with Cody Rhodes, the American Dream. The roof had blown off the building, man. They are over for Cody.
Oh, no. And yeah, Cody blows up the place as per usual, and he strolls down, and his wonderful music is playing, and gets into that ring and breaks out the mic. And just as he's getting ready to address us and let us know his thoughts of Jey Uso, everybody's favorite boo baby comes out, Dominic Mysterio, to a hail of boos. And yet again, we do not get to hear Cody speak on Jey.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like Cody talks for a few seconds, and then the second you say a name, any name, it doesn't matter. If you say a name, you're going to get entrance music for someone. So Dom comes out to the ring, and he is, as per usual, kind of just booed out the building. And even Cody at the end of his little spiel there, he's like, you know what? I'm not quite sure anybody heard you. Do you want to say that again? And I kind of popped for that.
Right. Yeah. And also too, we got an obscure reference for the wrestling fans. Cody Rhodes made a Family Matter reference in there, saying he's defined their
Yes.
relationship as Urkel and Laura. So
He said,
I
I'm
popped for
getting
that real good.
Yeah, I popped too, man. He was like, this is probably before your time, but I'm getting a little bit of an Urkel and Laura Winslow vibe.
Oh yeah, I popped
it.
for that. Yeah, I totally popped for that because I was a Urkel guy. I always rooted for him to try to get Laura, and that was one of our best shows ever. So yeah, when he dropped that reference, I popped like a little kid, and I ran around the room going, ah! So yeah.
So that was cool. And then, of course, the match is set. We get Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio one-on-one. But, it's one of those things where it's never going to be one-on-one when Dom's in the ring, right?
Oh, of course, because after Cody Rhodes gives him his good little clowning remark about Urkel and whatnot and takes some shots at his relationship with Rhea, we get Dom's only clear messages, and that's family sticks together, and we get Damian and Finn coming to the ring right away to be in Dom's corner.
It's really starting to remind me of a Fast and Furious movie where it's just family.
Family.
The match itself, it didn't run too long. I feel like I didn't keep time, but I like 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Right.
I mean, it was pretty back and forth for a second, but then we got a really beautiful Cody cutter, followed immediately by a crossroads for the 1, 2, 3, and Cody is your victor. No surprise here, right?
Yeah, no surprise, and as quickly as it should have been. And of course, what do we get already? We get Finn and Damian up on the ring like they're getting ready to take care of Cody, and we get Sammy and Kevin running out for the save.
Yeah, them guys are circling like vultures as they do, but they didn't make it up into the apron before we hear KO's music. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm a big KO guy. I hear his music and I am instantly like, oh, I'm here for it. He's
Oh,
he's probably top 3 for me right now.
oh, right. No, definitely. And plus, as a guy who's uh, a fan of people who look like the everyday average man, I
Yes.
appreciate Kevin Owens for representing my body type out there. Thank you, big guy. I appreciate you. And then plus too, I give it to him because Kevin Owens don't play and he's ready to fight and he's ready to tell people what he thinks. And after they come in for the save, when Cody's walking out of the ring, he goes, "No, no, 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 Cody, you come back here. I need to ask you some stuff because Kevin isn't happy."
Yeah, I love that too because normally when you see a save like that, you'd see him instantly grab the microphone and start talking about what he wants to say. But Kevin, he did something different here, man. He held it in. He let it breathe. And Cody's music is playing and everybody loves that song, right? And he's making his way up to the ramp. He's already thanked the guys for helping and coming in for the assist. And like you said, he just got interrupted right when he was at the top of that ramp. And he's like, wait a minute, man. You know what, Cody? I got to talk to you. I got to talk to you. And then we get a commercial break. So that's always fun, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I like how Kevin Owens plays right into it too. Because as soon as he comes back, he goes, "Well, now that we're back from commercial, now everybody can hear."
Kevin's always out here breaking the fourth wall, man.
Oh
I'm
man,
here for Kevin.
it's wonderful, and I really like it. He has a lot of concerns with Jay, and why should we trust him? Look what he's done, and I really like the points he was making because it's really setting up this split in the locker room and showing just how much Jay has to overcome. And it's some really great groundwork for Jay's character build. Like they're really pouring into this, and I like that. I like that they're going to give him a chance to right wrongs and prove himself, and people don't have to just accept him right away. I really like how this is kind of reality based right now with, oh no, it's just not okay. He came over here. Now he's just a good guy. Accept him. No, I like that the locker room's going, hey, no, dude, I remember what you did to me. Screw you, bro. I'm going to get you back. I love it.
I love it too. And it's like shades of gray too, because you've got Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes, we'll call it, we'll go, the white meat baby faces is what we say. And they're just, we just got to give him a second chance. It's all about second chances and then, give it some time, give him an opportunity. Even at one point, Cody said, I've been given so many second chances. So I think we should give Jay one. And I really liked Kevin's responses when he's like, you know what? I can forget about this. And I'll even forget about this. And I'll even forget about this. But I'll never trust him. But I trust you two guys. Don't make me look like a fool.
Oh, right. Yeah. And that's basically it. He's like, I don't trust it, but I trust my friends. So it was nice to see him keep his alliance with them. Like, no, you're my boys. I'll back your guys' decision up, but I'm not happy about it. So I really enjoyed that. The other thing I really liked too was the eyeliner joke where he goes, we already see he's just a darker shade of eyeliner from joining the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was
good.
just like, that was such a great line too. So we get that segment ending with a little bit of we don't know how this is going to play out. There's still questions to be asked. Is Jay going to join the Judgment Day? Is he a good guy? Can the locker room forgive him? Oh, dude, you're hooked right there. You're already invested. Within the first 6 minutes of Raw, you're invested already.
Yeah, it was really, really good work, clean work here. And you know what's worth mentioning too for me is Wade Barrett. He is not always, in my opinion, he's not the guy I'd always like to be hearing, but he was like, he's the best at playing the devil's advocate for the bad guy. He's like, if a guy, he looks like a snake, he sounds like a snake, he's probably a snake. One of those things, he's
Right.
just setting it up for everybody to. Of course, Jey Uso is putting us all on. Of course, he's just gonna turn into a bad guy. It's what he's done for years, right? Like he was
Right.
great.
Well, then Michael Cole doesn't help that either because then he immediately throws it into a Jey Uso package of him making mistakes. Oh, look, he accidentally kicked Kevin here and he cost this. Yeah, so it's not like that really helped the cause either, but it's just furthering that what's he going to do storyline, which also breaks us back into them giving us our first glimpse at the Nia Jax invasion package.
Yeah, that was it, man. We got a video package on Nia Jax coming and messing everything up for us last week. What could have been a great match. She got involved and You know, the scuttlebutt is that Nia Jax is not exactly the safest worker out there already. And then so you bring her back and immediately start talking about how she's now injured your two top female stars in one segment.
Oh,
They
yeah.
yeah, they said Rhea's out with bruised ribs. Rodriguez is out with whiplash, I think is the term they use. Like,
Yes.
my God, like, what are we doing here?
Right. And that's what I'm sitting there like, they hooked you already. So they already guys already compelled with what's Jay gonna do and can we trust him? And then they shoot into Nia Jax playing into that reality of, you know, the complaints and the things we've heard in the dirt sheets about her, about being unsafe and whatnot. And here she comes and she makes a statement by dropping the top baby face monster and the top heel monster champion and injuring them both out, making her just look like what they're billing her as the irresistible force.
Yeah, and we'll touch on that a little bit later because we've got some more issues with Nia Jax.
Yes.
After the video package, we get immediately a one-on-one match, Kofi Kingston versus Ivar.
Yes.
And I gotta tell you, this might be the match of the night for me. I'm gonna bury the lead here, dude. I think Ivar is better off as a solo competitor. You're laughing real hard at me right now, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts on the match.
Your opinions are on it, because I can see why. But just going back to something you and I've discussed a lot, it's the Viking Raiders and it's the New Day. And I don't care what they do. I don't care how good that match was. I have no investment in them right now. And this was a great outing, trust me. But out of all the matches, this is the one that didn't hook me. This is the one I didn't believe. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Ivar literally killed him 3 times.
Multiple
killed him
times
3 times
yeah.
just to eat a size 4 shoe because Kofi looked so tiny in there. And to lose, I didn't buy it at all. I didn't buy it at all. He got splatted on the mat from the splash from the apron. He got splatted on the apron from the moonsault. Yes. He took every power slam that a giant guy can give you, but somehow he survives and gets off that rinky-dink kick with that Oshkosh Bagosh shoe he wears, and Ivar's down. No.
I love this because this is like the first moment that we're going to... So, like, I've got a lot of the same notes as you, right? Like, so the size difference is crazy. It almost made me laugh out loud. Kofi Kingston compared to Ivar is kind of ridiculous. How can you believe anything, right? And I even made mention of the top rope moonsault, which landed. And Wade Barrett had another line here about he smashed him like one of his pancakes that he's so fond of, or some crap like that. He said, which was great. And then that outside splash from the apron to the outside floor, like, my God. He called it the beard splash, or Michael Cole actually called it that. I'm here for that, but it was, and so it is one of those things where it's like, how much do you need us to suspend our disbelief? But Kofi Kingston has been in the WWE for a lot of years. He's been our champion. Listen, there was no reason for the match. I'm here. Like, I am not personally invested in anything to do with Viking Raiders in the New Day anymore, but I enjoyed the match thoroughly.
No, and like I said, from just a wrestling entertainment standpoint, the match was a great match. They did amazing work. And yeah, for anybody that turned on the TV and saw that, they watched a really great match where the underdog came out with the win. But for the people that are there and they've watched this go on and on and on and on, going all the way to their little explanation on why we had this match from the first place. Because remember, it was supposed to be a 2 out of 3 falls tag match.
Yes,
and for some reason, we had Eric out for some kind of mystery injury or issue. And so then it leads to our interaction with the New Day and Pierce playing paper, rock, scissors for who's going to face them. And it's Kofi. And then it lost me right when Kofi was in the camera and he's like, man, I just really can't wait to smack this guy in the face a few times. I'm going to smack him right in his face. I was just like,
That's so funny because I have here that like I actually popped at that like because he knows he's in the ring and that shot's on him and that mic is just like he's just gonna hear him.
Yes.
I just can't wait to.
But the reason why is because he's saying all that. I'm gonna smack him in his face and that, and then he's like, "Oh, I can't hip toss you. Oh, I can't take you down. Oh," and then we just get Ivar squashing him all over the place, and so that's why I was just like, it just made me laugh more than take it seriously, which might have been the reason for it. But either way, I was just like, no.
Let me ask your opinion on this because there were several spots here that made me really, like I said, I think that Ivar might be better off in a solo capacity. There was really great hard hitting action throughout, and it looked snug. He hit Kofi with what was like a modified Bronco Buster in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. Then there was this like a butterfly sit out power bomb that I thought for sure was like his new finisher he was debuting. It was so devastating.
Right. No, all you were getting was a glimpse of the Ring of Honor Viking Raiders. Like I said, Viking Raiders from Ring of Honor, dude, they murdered everyone. They were Vikings. You saw them come out. You're like, oh my God, they're going to destroy our village. They're going to take our women. They're going to take our gold. All our men are dead. All our men are dead. So you're getting a glimpse of who they were before WWE PG'd them during the COVID times.
Well, I say let that shine through, but at the same time, you can't lose when you're going to be that guy because, like, to your point, like, there's no way Kofi should have kind of rallied here with a size 4 Trouble in Paradise. You know what I mean? He did hit him with a pretty gnarly, like, sunset power bomb from the second rope, which fed into the Trouble in Paradise, but not believable at all for sure.
Yeah, no. Like I said, great athletic match. Anybody that's a casual fan saw that one, but being like, wow, did you see that little guy take out that giant guy? Very entertaining. But for the person following the storyline and who's invested and really wants to see these people shine in their creative ways, it just left me going, we could have slid some other people in there and got them exposure other than these kind of stale ones right now.
Sure. And so we do get Kofi with the victory. Up next, we have a video package again from last Monday's interaction with Seth Rollins and Shinsuke. I'm pretty lukewarm on the whole Ricochet being involved in this thread. How do you feel about it? We haven't talked about this. I feel like he inputted himself and he's just kind of there for fodder. We don't expect him to win a match. It's like, what's this for?
See, and that I played into it the exact same way. I was going, all right, here we go. Here comes Ricochet yet again to get in between to help carry this forward a little bit more. But then when it got to the ring and it got to the match, I was like, whoa, this is getting out. This is pretty out of control. They're showcasing right now. And then it made me realize that I need to give Ricochet more credit than he deserves. I've been a little too hard on him and his character build lately, but I appreciated him in this right now, and it made me understand it a little bit better with his involvement. Like, because it's not just him trying to interject, but we always forget he actually does have a history with Shin. He has a little history there. And it's unfortunate that he has to do things like this to make us remember that he did.
Yeah, I agree, and that's not what I said. Not to say I didn't enjoy the match because I thoroughly did, and so just before the match, we do get a backstage with Ricochet, and it was pretty good. He's fired up here. He did end it by saying, "I'm the cheat code," and game over, which I loved. I loved.
I did not. It made me feel like a good promo just went a little south right there.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, because I'm like I said. I'm being a little too hard on him, but it was like he took a strong promo right there and threw a taggy little tagline at a little tagline there that just didn't need to be there, and it was corny. I'm the cheat code, baby, and I can't lose, or whatever it was.
And the game is over.
Yeah, what'd you say? You're a cheat code? I'm like,
how does that apply, sir?
Right. And then you go out there and you lose by disqualification.
Oh, so I'm like, so yeah, let's talk about that.
I'm just like, come on. It goes with the whole picture of the match, but it was like taking a really strong, like, promo and you're just like, yeah. And then you just slip in that one little verbal mistake that just takes all the gumph out of it.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't a mistake. I feel like that was very much on purpose. And I guess I shouldn't. So I said it was great. I loved it, but I laughed out loud, like to myself. I laughed out loud in my house by myself. And you probably shouldn't be laughing at like a fired up promo of a guy going out to a match. So
Yeah.
it was a little ridiculous, but I guess because the gamer in me I popped a little bit. Anyway, we do get the match. Shinsuke's out next. And man, Shinsuke, his music, his gear, his presentation, this guy's an assassin. I love Shinsuke Nakamura so much.
I marked it in here just as a kind of WTF Michael Cole moment, but it was his little comment, new attitude, new ring attire.
Yeah. Yeah. It was darker. He said it's darker too. He mentioned it being darker.
It
but
goes with his darker, meaner attitude. And I'm just like, thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, how is yellow darker than red? I don't understand.
Right. But it just made me like, and I think that's something I want to start trying to like remember is just kind of taking Michael Cole comments, because I was just like, it made me pop from Michael Cole, and it kind of took me back into the old days of just weird, wacky shit commentators say. And that's what it was for me. New attitude, new attire.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So actually so Shinsuke comes out first, Ricochet comes out next, and then we get some shots of Shinsuke in the ring, and his facials, man, are gold.
Right. Well, especially when he was just getting ready to hit his cool little drop down in the ring with the heavy violin drop, and good old Sethy Rollins interrupts him. And that face he makes, like, wow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was not too happy about that. And then so we do get that interruption. Seth does come down. He's met by security. He quickly evades them immediately. Like, I don't know what they're doing with their lives. But Shin escapes out the ring and does the runaround. And we actually don't get any physical contact between these two before the match.
No, we don't. We just get a Shinsuke Nakamura getting back in the ring, taunting and further infuriating and frustrating good old Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and that will feed further into the show as we go forward. The match itself was like, it's really physical. These two guys don't disappoint when they're in there. You almost think so, like I said earlier, you don't really expect Ricochet to win here, but it's just like, okay, so how are we going to win without some sort of outside interference? In my head, I'm like, oh, we'll see Seth probably, but that's not what happens, man. We get, relatively short into the match before Shinsuke gets a chair from the outside and attempts to hit Ricochet with it. He misses. He eats something and goes to the ground, and then Ricochet picks up the chair and he hits him with it and gets DQ'd immediately. What?
Yeah, see, and that's what made me go, all right, I've been a little too hard on Ricochet. He needed this. He needed this kind of step up and anger. You know what I mean? He's always been, I'm Ricochet, yay! Power Rangers, play Fortnite with me. Now I look at him as all, hey, I'm Ricochet. Let's go play some Modern Warfare and say some cuss words. It gave him a little bit of an edge for me. So I was there for that. And that's what made me go, okay, you can't write this match off, because we're seeing a trifecta here. We're seeing a trifecta. So we're getting this newer, tougher Shinsuke who's becoming a better heel, a bigger villain. We're getting the babyface, battle-wearied champion who's fighting through pain and has to keep it together and is starting to lose control a little bit. And now you had the goody two-shoe babyface starting to break character. So we could start seeing a darker Ricochet, a meaner Ricochet, well, who could take advantage of it. So it makes him now a wild card to me. He's now the wild card, because we're just at that slight little change in personality of him saying, you tried to hit me with the chair. Well, I'm going to try to hit you with the chair. And especially with it backfiring the way it did, not just him getting the DQ, but then getting taken out by Shinsuke afterwards. And I have that note there where I said, Shinsuke's kick to his ankle, owie, owie, owie. That looked gnarly.
Same, I had that too. And I guess I hadn't thought about that trifecta, like you mentioned, Ricochet's, and you're absolutely right. Ricochet is like, he just comes off as soft with no edges, just He's cut and he's beautiful man, but he's soft, right? And so I do think too he needs some edge, some darkness, and we do see that. And if we do continue to see that, I have high hopes for a dark Ricochet.
Well, see, and that's the thing. He can do it. You don't believe me? Go look up some obscure Lucha Underground Prince Puma. That was Ricochet. And as Prince Puma, he was gritty. So he can do it. It's just he came in and they made him the immediate baby face because he could do all the flippy, twisty, divey things that no one else can do. So, yeah, you want to see where he could go from this? Go check out Prince Puma.
I probably would check out all of these old clips and old footage if there wasn't already so much wrestling to watch that is current. Ah! So we did get that ankle kick sweep that you mentioned that looked just tremendous, and it was immediately followed up by a Kinshasa, which I feel like I have to see every time I see Shinsuke. It's so gorgeous of a move. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And then after that's done, we get further punishment to Ricochet on the leg. He was taking in the chair to him on the ring post. He was trying to take that leg out of commission. And then we finally get Seth Rollins. He shows up and he gets his hands on Nakamura.
Right. Yeah. No, Nakamura, to take a quote from Owen Hart, the late, great Owen Hart, he knocked the leg out of his leg. Oh, it was so great to see him just wild wail in that chair. And like he misses the first shot, then he hits him in the knee, then he hits him in the toes, then he hits him in the ankle. And it was just like, it wasn't a specific targeting. He was just waylaying out that leg, which was hilarious to me. And then, of course, we get Seth Rollins down for the save, which leads to kerfuffling and scrapping and rolling back into the ring. And yet another instance of Seth taking damage to his back. He gets hit with a backdrop onto the steel chair that's dropped in the ring.
Yep, and then shortly after, he gets hit with another backdrop onto the announce table where it didn't give. And as we all know, when it don't break, that's when it hurts the most.
Oh, definitely. So pushing the storyline even further is, how's his back going to be? And will he even get the match with Shinsuke? Because there's not even a match yet.
Yep, nothing in stone. So we'll move forward. Up next, we get a video package. And you know what? We said at the outset of the show, this was a great show. It was a really strong outing for Raw. If there was a weak point or two, this was definitely one of them for me. We get a video package of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks and that whole deal. And then we get immediately after that a backstage with Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. I do love Chelsea Green because she's so funny.
Yes, which I hope we just talk about a little bit, because she had the best comedy segment of the night for me was when they asked her, when she's all, me and Piper are best friends, and she's like, we're friends. What country am I from? Oh, that whole answer from Chelsea Green had me dying. She says, England, Ireland, wait, Florida. You're from Florida.
No, she's a gem on the microphone, man. She's really good. But Piper Niven here makes it clear that she has no interest in being friends with Chelsea. She's just here for the gold, baby.
Strictly business. Strictly business.
Speaking of strictly business, we get Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks out to the ring. They're going to take on, actually, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green here. What did you think about the match? What do you think about the pairing of the two? We're probably gonna be on the same page here.
Well, we talked about it before, and I was on record with you stating that I thought it was a huge step back for Shayna Baszler, especially after letting her be the one to basically knock Ronda Rousey out of the WWE. To me, it was a huge step back for her to go into this match with Zoe Starks, who's another strong wrestler, and then to be like, hey, you're pretty good. I think I kind of like you, when there was an opportunity there to skyrocket them both in different directions and then bring them back later to take on each other. So that's how I was feeling at first. But then seeing how they did the match and how they worked as a team, it gave me a better understanding of where we might see this go. So what I noticed is they were playing anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, and that's, if you're gonna go that route, I think that's one we haven't seen in a while. I don't know that I've ever seen something like that where two people have gotten together just to try to outdo one another and so much mutual respect. That's a new one for me.
Well, see, the only time I saw that was back in the days. That would be how a heel program would start, two heels teaming up. it would start out with them not getting along, but basically, hey, well, I saw what you did. Well, watch what I can do, and kind of one up in the pain they could put on somebody, and then realizing, hey, we're both kind of sadistic people. Maybe we should do it together finally. But they can run this to me in two different ways. They can run it to where it's competition and it leads into us finally getting them breaking and having their program against each other, or it's the birth of a heel tag team.
Yeah, if it is the first one, like how much, if they're going to eventually split up and do the solo program, how much are you going to decimate your whole tag division before you get there with a team that isn't really a team? That's my first question. My second question is, why after 6 minutes of really good match did we get Nia Jax to the ring to destroy it all and destroy the entire tag division in one segment?
Oh, that's a simple one, because there is no tag team division yet. So they don't need to take it seriously yet. So Chelsea
There's
Green's
belts involved. There's already belts involved.
There's belts involved that they can't not get away from now, that they can use to further a great division, because they have enough wonderful female wrestlers to where they can do a good tag division. But I think they're in the process of trying to rebuild it right now, because a lot of the people that they had vested into the tag division have now gotten injured. So now you notice they drafted a lot of tag teams up from NXT, but we haven't seen them yet. It's because I think they're planning something for us. I think we're going to see a tag team tournament soon, and then we're going to start seeing a serious program for that. But until they figure out what they can do with it, I think what we're going to see right now is just Chelsea Green running around with these belts with a different tag team partner wherever it seems fit because of the injury angles. And it didn't hurt the division, because there's no division to hurt right now for Nia Jax to come out there and get her squash on. And plus, it's still carried on to that because she had history with Shayna, and she's sending a message, and they played it well. Like, I was like, oh no, not Nia Jax again. But if they're doing what I think they're doing, and I don't want to give it away yet, it's going perfectly, because I actually was like, wow, okay, after she did this attack, I was like, they're setting up a monster heel for Rhea Ripley to decimate.
Yeah, maybe, man. I'm concerned about it. I feel like maybe it's giving me Ra's al Ghul feelings, like you got to burn the city down before you can rebuild it. Is that what's happening? Because she just demolished 4 of the best female competitors in the entire company.
Well, if you think about it in terms of 7 days, she's taken out 6, being with Raquel and Rhea the week before. Right. So I'm just saying, they're sending a message. They're building a monster heel for an amazing clash, and who's going to be the one to take her down.
What happens when the monster heel that they're building? What happens when like no one likes them? Like, not even in the good way where you're not supposed to like a heel, but like literally everyone just wishes she was not around.
Wouldn't that just be considered nuclear white heat? Just nuclear white heat. Because I would tell you right now, I've never been a Nia Jax fan. Never. Didn't think there was anything to her. Same. And was happy when she was gone, and loved the great disrespect I felt she got when she hit the Royal Rumble, and that whole thing threw her out. But take what you just heard right there. You got to remember, when she came back from the Royal Rumble, the whole division said no and threw her out. What better motivation to come back and just destroy anybody and everything that's in your way now? They basically said, get out of our locker room. We don't like you. Now she's back. Tag team division people smashed. Your champion smashed. Your top babyface smashed. And I'm here. So it made me believe her putting the locker room on notice when she said that walking up the ramp. I'm here. Locker room's on notice. I'm destroying everyone. It made it believable because they turned her into the superstar that has nothing to lose, literally nothing to lose. Fans don't like her. Peers don't like her. She's just, there you go. She's Godzilla. She's just there destroying stuff now.
Man, I don't like it. Up next, we get a backstage segment. We get Adam Pearce backstage talking about the Seth Rollins incident. Then Chad Gable comes into frame, and he is just gold here. There, not only is he one of my favorites in the ring, on the microphone, he is excelling in so many ways. Um, what do you think about his little promo here before we get the interruption by Big Bronson Reed?
Oh no, Chad Gable, uh, Kurt Angle 3.0. I am such a fan. Like he is doing such stellar work with his Alpha Academy and just coming off of that great program with Gunther, and it still sounds so desperate about it. Whatever I need to do to just get one more shot. And you're right, and it rolled it perfectly because then that's when we get Big Bronson Reed say, "What are you talking about, little guy? You little guy," which kind of made me laugh when Bronson Reed kept calling him a little guy because he was only like a couple inches tall, like not even a couple inches taller than him.
Yeah, that height difference ain't there for him to be saying little like that. And we got probably one of the coolest responses I've ever heard. I made my name out of suplexing big boys like you.
Right, which
Shoosh.
which
Shoosh,
just
please.
takes him right back into that. I mean, he's so good with that. So yeah, I thought it was such a great segue into their grudge match out of nowhere to set up who could be and basically what they did was they gave us Gunther's lineup for the next few months. So we already know later on we'll get into his next match because I'm going to tell you right now we already know what's going.
Yep.
And then we're going to get Bronson Reed coming up next, and then we're not going to get Chad Gable until after all that again.
That's right. So immediately after this segment, we get another backstage with Jey Uso, and he's kind of running it down, doing his promo thing before Damian Priest comes into frame and just starts laying on the family talk pretty heavy.
Right. I put the note on it. Worst pitch to get you into a crew ever.
It was pretty bad. It was one of those things, like you said earlier. It's like, oh, you just ruined the whole thing by the thing you said right at the end. Oh, there's no dictatorship. We love you. We want you here. We want an Uso here. We'd prefer it to be you, but we need an answer for tonight. And don't let me down. Like, what are you? What,
right.
What is this?
Well, that's the thing. Me as a man personally, whenever I've ever had someone approach me and say, "Hey, I want you to do me this favor and don't let me down," I immediately did everything in my power to let them down. Because to me, I'm like, no, that's just not a way you talk. So you're going to do me this favor, and just whatever you do, don't make me look bad and don't let me down.
Yeah, if you qualify it like that, I'm immediately not even like engaging in the favor. You're done.
Exactly.
I say no to you. I say the nay.
Right, exactly. And so when he came up with it, yeah, it had me dying. Well, we really want a Uso. The other guys are really into, Jimmy, but I'm, oh yeah. I was just like, it was pretty good. It was pretty good work.
I really liked that he said he did want an answer by the end of the night because, as you said, we're already putting so much into we got so much character development from Jey Uso last night in such a short amount of time that one statement was pivotal, and it did indeed lead to what we'll see later.
Yes, it does. So we get that ending right there with a Jey Uso going, "What am I gonna do?" And then we cut to Chad Gable already in the ring waiting for his match opponent, Big Bronson Reed, who I dug. And I believe they made quick mention to it because when he first came out, I was like, man, he kind of looks like Bam Bam Bigelow. And then I believe one of the commentators stated that he was wearing Bam Bam inspired gear. And I was there for that because I was a Bammy fan.
Yeah, I like Bronson Reed, man. He does some things in the ring that make me cringe, just like being a big guy before. Like he does this one little thing where he'll jump from the apron out onto the floor and like shoulder block a dude, but land on his knees. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, your knees are going to suck, big guy. I wish you wouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah. No, he definitely does some things that a guy that size should not be doing, like the way he comes off the ropes and be doing those ring dives. But, man, if he can do it and he can do it without getting hurt, I'm totally here for seeing him flying around that room like a little boulder, just smashing people everywhere.
Yeah. And this, for me, was another contender for match of the night. It was like a typical Chad Gable match, but you throw Big Bronson Reed in there. Everything looked, because of that size difference, everything looked like it was just harder and just more physical and like more demanding for Gable to do anything. It was just textbook.
No, it was. And it goes to show just how much of a master wrestler and technician Gable is, because he just came off of this program with Gunther where you're like, damn, he can beat Gunther. And then you get in there and he made you believe that he was doing everything in his power to try to pick this guy up and just couldn't do it. And then even with the way it ended, it didn't hurt him because it plays into the whole myth of size, because he used his knees to try to block the splash, the back split, the senton. Because he's so big, it hurt his knee, which made it to where he couldn't lift him now, setting everything up for his failure. And it was great storytelling. It was great ring psychology. That was match of the night for me.
Heard that. And you said it right there. That's the psychology, to where you can always book a babyface to lose in the right way that doesn't hurt them. And you are blessed with this size difference between these two matchups, and styles make matches, as we all know. So just that moment there at the end when you said he basically crushed his knees into the mat so he could no longer even attempt to pick up Bronson, and then it was too much for him to overcome. I believe that you forwarded both men at the same time, even though the babyface had to lose. It's not rocket science, but it was perfect.
Right. And it was because you had Chad Gable, who was so comfortable in his character and his character's role. He knows how to play it. And he could take that loss and still use it to prepare him for it. Because it's like he did it with Gunther. He got the window to Gunther, not the way he wanted to. He outsmarted him. So because he did that, it shows intelligence. Another Kurt Angle trait. Intelligence. And so what's he going to do? Now, when we see this match come again, he's going to have a different game plan, and he's going to get those suplexes on him. Watch. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one, that rematch. So up next, we do get a backstage with Tommaso Ciampa. I love this guy. I was so not a fan of his in NXT because he was so barbaric and just like he would. The word escapes me, but he was just like this guy who was willing to go sink to any depths to get.
He's a maniac. He's a maniac.
Yeah. But man, he grows on you. He's so intense all the time. And he's talking back there about how he's just tired of waiting for his turn and waiting to get called up. He said he ain't waiting no more, and he's going. He's going after Gunther, man.
Oh, yeah. And that's what had me die, because that was the note I put there. It just says waiting, and just waiting just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because that was the intensity of the word every time he used it. It just got bigger and stronger and louder. And it let you know that he was tired of waiting. And man, I don't know how he did it, but the way he popped up out of that chair got so scared it folded itself up and laid down. I was just like, wow.
There's a beautiful simplicity to his in-ring work and his mic work, but he brings to it a level of intensity that is unmatched, in my opinion.
Because he looks like his nickname. He looks like a Sicilian psychopath. He looks like he will kill you.
And we'll keep that in mind here shortly, because up next we get a little video package of Becky Lynch's Grand Slam champion accomplishment, where she won the NXT World's Women's Championship last week. What do you think about that whole thing? Are you happy for her? I am.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's great that Becky Lynch got her Grand Slam moniker. She deserves it. She's put in a lot of work and she's come a long way. But I'm also realizing the time of the man has come around. It's time for her to reinvigorate, or to return later when we miss her. Because to me, this was the only thing out of the whole night that was completely out of place and didn't perpetuate, push, or develop any storyline anywhere.
Heard that. That's a strong view, and I tend to agree with it. So up next, after that short video package, we get a backstage with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Just briefly before Jey Uso comes in the frame, and he's like, "Hey, Kevin, you got something to say? Say it to my face." And Kevin Owens does not take kindly to this. You think I'm talking behind your back? I said this shit in front of everybody, you know?
Right, which is basically what you would expect from that interaction. And I liked it because what it does is it keeps the beginning storyline prevalent through the whole show. We're back to going, oh yeah, man. After all this other stuff we saw, we almost forgot Jey Uso still has a decision to make and people still don't trust him, because there was enough to almost start forgetting this stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot going on, and that segment was really strong because it also saw Kevin Owens leaving for the evening, as well as Sami Zayn. So that kind of set that whole thing up to where now we're being told that they're no longer here later when we get to the main event. Let's not skip ahead. Up next, we get a Okay, so we get Becky Lynch actually out to the ring, and I got to tell you, man, she cuts a fiery promo, and she was no different here.
No, and that's the thing. She did cut a good fiery promo, and it was because that's what her strength is that good fiery promo. And that's why I said she deserved to get that belt. She deserved to get her moniker and that, but it's you can tell the man train is coming to an end. It's slowing down. It's not traveling as fast. The coal car ain't pumping enough steam in that engine anymore. It's about time.
Yep. And then so we get Becky Lynch to the ring, and she's cutting this promo, and she's talking about how important it is to her to defend the NXT championship against, she, specifically mentions newcomers and people that are actually the future of the business. But the match that we actually get is Becky Lynch versus Natalya. Tell me how that happened.
Yeah, which it was kind of like at first, it's a good thing they had that really good promo with each other before the match happened, because that's the first thing I said when she's just like, I'm accepting any challenger. Let's let a newcomer try. And then here comes Natalya. And I couldn't fight her logic. I couldn't deny her when she's just like, hey, you're talking about giving a newcomer a chance. Well, it's not my problem, when I'm here fighting for it all the time and I'm ready to go. And so I got it. But at the end of the day, I said, here we go. And we just have Natalya yet again with her solid work against Becky Lynch, yet again with her solid work in the same match they've had 70 times. This isn't perpetuating a storyline. It's not going to develop anything between the two, except for maybe a Natalya run in somewhere later to cost her the NXT title. It was the one thing that did the least amount of the show for me. Good match, of course.
Yeah, and a note on the match too. I felt it was pretty quick for what it was, although to your point, we did get a solo promo and then a back and forth promo. So there was some promo time mixed with the match. But the match itself was kind of quick, and it was really back and forth, almost kind of chain wrestling kind of thing. Nobody really got an upper hand. And then we just saw a series of roll-ups and reversals. And then Becky eventually does hold her down for the 3. So she wins. Becky Lynch wins, but due to a simple roll-up. I just don't know.
Yeah, like I said, solid match, great technical work, but out of everything, it didn't push a storyline, it didn't push a narrative. It was the one thing that was really out of place there.
So, like we said, Becky does get the victory here. Then we get a backstage segment with Dominic Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Man, I'm a big fan of this Dragon Lee. I'm a big fan of his brother over in AEW. I am actually quite looking forward to their matchup. And luckily for me, Dragon Lee and Dominic Mysterio will go one-on-one for the North American Championship on Raw next week. So it's not like I even have to watch NXT to see this match.
No, and it's going to be a fabulous match. And I do not want Dom to lose. I want Dom to keep winning. I am so marked out for Dom. Like, this kid took this opportunity and has just skyrocketed with it. He has made me laugh uncontrollably so many times. And even with him coming in trying to have this kind of promo where he's just like being mad at peers and trash talking Dragon Lee, because it comes off with such young arrogance. Like, it just he kills me. He kills me. The whole thing. You didn't do your job, Adam, and mommy's not here to help me, and that's why I lost to Cody.
my biggest thing on Dom is I feel the same way you do, and it's because to me, he's committing. He's not letting these moments crush him. He's not letting these crowds booing him out of the building actually like demolish his spirit, it seems like, because when you get him backstage, when the crowd isn't into it, you actually hear some of this work that he's doing, and he's really good on the microphone. He's coming along, and in the ring, he's his daddy's son. Which daddy it is, who's to say? But either way, you got a legend. A legend is your father.
Hey, regardless, Rey Mysterio is his dad. Could be Eddie Guerrero's his dad.
Could be Chavo. We don't know.
Hopefully, it's not Conan.
So we do get that segment with him. I am very much looking forward to that match next week. Although, like you, I don't think or want him to lose that championship. I kind of wanted to hold on to it for a long, long time just to make everybody mad. That's going to be great.
Exactly.
Up next, we do get we do get the match, Tommaso Ciampa versus Giovanni Da Vinci of Imperium.
Yes.
What did you think of the match? I've got just a very few notes here. It definitely forwarded several stories here, and I'm really excited about that. What are your thoughts?
Well, when we talked earlier and we started the show, this is in the notes where I wrote, holy moly, there is so much in this show already, because I couldn't believe that they were still going to this match and there was still more things to come after that. So yeah, the Imperium, Giovanni Vinci versus Tommaso Ciampa. It's like I was saying, what we got the order of Gunther's next appointments. Tommaso's next. He's going to go against big Bronson Reed, and then he's going to go back to Gable. So we already see where this is going to go, and I think this is going to set up nicely for the end of the year, and I think we're going to get Gunther Gable again at WrestleMania.
Oh my goodness. And as much as a Gunther fan as I am, I'm slowly becoming more okay with the thought of Gable taking that belt off of him at WrestleMania 40. I
definitely
would not hate it. No, I agree with you. It was a great showing for Ciampa. He actually won with he called it the Sicilian stretch, which is a throwback to, like you said, he's a Sicilian guy. Kaiser was not happy, and we got to look into the backstage where Gunther was not happy. There's some threads unfolding here for Imperium.
I know. I feel so bad for poor Giovanni, man. He comes out there and he's one of the great technical and just power wrestlers for his division and his side. And he gets so yelled at and so pushed around by the other two. Because right when he loses, you see Kaiser just, and they show Gunther back there grinding his teeth. You're just like, poor Giovanni.
Yeah, I always expect him to get chopped to minced meat for his, for his losing ways. I feel bad for the guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And what's worse is he's a great competitor. He's a really good worker. He's, but he's forward in that story. I do wonder where they're going to go with it, because Imperium, to me, could have been a top stable for years to come if they just booked it right. Like all three of these guys are superb.
Oh, right. No, definitely. That's something we could see in the future. You never know. But no, Imperium is a powerhouse stable. I'm totally here for that, and I dig them.
So after this matchup next, we get another backstage. This time, Seth Rollins is limping, seemingly out of the building. He's limping his way out of there. And his glasses game, his sunglasses game is incredible.
Right. And that, I forgot to mention it earlier, not the sunglasses, because we'll get into that, but I forgot to mention it when we talked about his first appearance. And I forgot to bring up the fact of what ridiculous outfit is Seth Rollins wearing this week. And so, first of all, we didn't even touch about that. He looked like he was wearing, to me, I described it as a tuxedo onesie without the undershirt.
That is a good description.
Like, yeah, it was just the oddest thing. And then he was wearing, it looked like 1996 Doc Martin goth platform shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he looked like he was dressed as a performer for Lilith Fair, that old female festival back in the 90s.
We could probably do an entire series on Seth Rollins outfits. It's kind of crazy.
But yeah, just then the sunglasses on top of that were just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was outrageous. He did throw him off in a minute, because we did get a little glimpse here of Seth Rollins coming a little unhinged. He seems to be losing it a little bit. He's letting these mind games of Shinsuke get to him. But at the end, he has a bit of a revelation. He said, you know what? I'm just going to wash my hands. Whatever you say, Shinsuke. Name a time, name a place, name a stipulation. I don't care. I just want that booty.
Yep, that's pretty much what he said. He said, he had his revelation, and he said, the ball is in your court, and whatever you name the time, the place, heck, you can name the stipulation. Let's just do it. So
that's the most interesting part of that to me, is what is that? Because you're not going to bring up a stipulation if there's not going to be a stipulation match. Like, I need to know what it is.
Exactly. So now the fun we get to see of Shinsuke Nakamura continuing to play cat and mouse with him until we get the stipulation set. Oh, I can't. Yeah. I want to see what we get with this one.
Yeah, I'm ready for it, man. And so up next is we finally get to the main event of the evening. I feel like you said, this is 2 shows worth of content here, man. But we get Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. And I love the friction between these two guys, just like I love the friction between Jay and Kevin. Um, Man, Jey Uso gets a crowd going like nobody's business. I would love to hear your overall thoughts on whether or not Jey Uso is going to permanently be a solo competitor fixture, or is this just overarching into this gnarly, like we can get into it. I've got some ideas, but I kind of feel like Jay might just be infiltrating and double agenting for the bloodline. I don't know.
Hey, you know what? That's the great thing about this storyline, because don't think that that didn't go across my head. You can't see it over here because it's not in your camera view. And of course, the listeners can't hear it because we're not on video. But I have my whole conspiracy theory board with posters and pins and strings and lines, and it's up on the ceiling and on the floor and all around the room. And I've made connections to that where I see that he could just be infiltrating and going over there and just kind of doing his thing, getting the pre-tribal chief training. But on the same note, I don't think that could be it either. I think he is over there running the solo act and learning to stand on his own so he can come back and challenge for that tribal leadership. So
I love it. I'm here for either way because I feel like just the fact that this long-term storytelling that we're seeing has led to different paths that they can go down and different options. That's something almost entirely new to WWE. It's not something that they do.
I think they're listening to their fans again. That's what I think they're doing. And not in the sense that they're going to listen to them and do what they want them to do. As I said, I think they're listening to us speculate and draw conclusions and make lines and try to connect things that are there. And I think they're playing us. I think they draw hints and things in there for us to look at to keep us from seeing other things. I think they're totally playing us. And it's wonderful, especially right now with the world full of smart marks and everybody knowing everything about wrestling. People like me who think they know a lot about wrestling and can see it coming from a mile away. They've got me guessing right now. And I'm happy about that, because that means they have got me fully invested again, because I don't care where it goes. I don't care what they're doing to me. I just want to see it happen now.
Just want to see it, and we can't exactly guess it because predicting it is a fool's game, because they can swerve us at any moment, and I love and they still get swerved.
And it continued through this match, because they had us go into this match asking so many questions by the end of the night. Is he or is he not going to be in the Judgment Day? Is he a bad guy? What's he going to do, brother? And it played out masterfully, and not just in a match. I mean, this was a 20+ minute banger with drama and ups and downs. Geez, man, what a way to close an already stacked show. I my head was exploding with everything that was happening.
I agree, man. It was a great match, and the way the match started was a really strong collar and elbow tie-up that demonstrated Drew's strength advantage over Jey Uso, and it was so apparent. Like, he just threw him to the ground. He rolled into the corner. It was just a great visual of that size and strength difference. But not to be outdone, shortly thereafter, we see the speed advantage of Jey Uso come into play, and these guys were just back and forth for the entirety of this match.
Right. And not even putting into account their facials and the emotion they were putting into the match too, with how they're delivering everything. Because you could see it. Drew was letting him know, I remember you, and I'm going to hurt you, and I'm going to show you. And he was doing things so methodically and so powerfully. And then Jay was getting these flashes of speed and determination and fortitude by just continuing to press forward and the fight back. You could see through the match that they were developing. You could see the change where Drew was starting to go, okay, I can kind of see this guy deserves a chance, but I'm still going to beat the crap out of him. You can see there was a mutual respect kind of building there. And I was like, man, what great storytelling.
Yeah, and it was all that for me too, until we immediately got, like, not immediately, but maybe a third of the way into the match before the Judgment Day make their way down to the ring yet again for the evening. And this whole thing, they were kind of just cheering Jay on, yapping in the corner, telling to him and talking to him. It was interesting, but to your point, there was a point there where Drew was kind of coming around and getting that respect for him.
Yes.
But then you get the Judgment Day to the ring, and then
And it just
in perspective,
completely smoke screens the whole thing again. Yeah. Smoke screens it again. And so you see Drew go from going, see, I knew, going from, okay, maybe this is a good one-on-one respectful match. We might be able to shake hands at the end to, I knew it. I knew it. You're with them. You're with them. And that coming into play, especially like you said, they immediately go into Jay's corner. And what I put down here, what had me dying is they're setting up for the superplex. And they start to teeter like they're going to fall off the rope. And you see Finn like, I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch you. Like they did it so well, like showing that they were there purely for Jay. Just, we're here for you. And especially once Dom interferes and Damian gets a hold of the foot and you get Jey Uso taking advantage of it, landing the kick and almost getting the win from it. Just sowing that seeds of deception right there even more. Because now Drew's like, see, Dom got up there. Damian got involved. He tried to take advantage of it. He's not a good guy. He's that low down bloodline member that he always has been.
That's right. That's right. It was really, really cool to watch because in the end, we get a moment where both men, Drew and Jay, are in opposite corners. And then we get Damian Priest actually hops up on the apron and is talking to Jay, like standing in his ear. And it seems to us like Jay is receptive to this advice or to this motivation. And he's kind of mouthing along and nodding his head. Yeah. Like, it was an interesting moment that led to Damian Priest extending his hand to give me that dap off, man. I want it. And we get it. Jey Uso daps off Damian Priest right there at the end of the matchup. The crowd loses it. They're not happy. But man, it's the shortest lived alliance in all history. He immediately eats a super kick for his troubles. Jey Uso super kicks the head off of Damian Priest, and then Finn Balor, and then Dominic Mysterio, and then eats a Claymore. Oh.
Yeah, crowd's going nuts. Then out of nowhere, Claymore to the face. 1, 2, 3. Drew wins, but it adds right back to that roller coaster because you get them going at it, and Drew's like, he's got the crowd basically believing he's going to just rip Jey Uso apart. Then the crowd sees this mutual respect build. They see the trust broken when Judgment Day comes down. They seemingly lose their minds. They think Jay joins. He kicks the teeth out of everybody there just to eat that, lose the match. Man, like, so much roller coaster of emotion right there. Just that crowd went home exhausted. I'm like, that crowd was so lucky to see the things they saw that night.
Yeah, it was an unexpected great show for Monday Night Raw. And you know what? Then we get the Judgment Day. They are not happy with Jey Uso, and they're going to take out their frustrations on him. And they just, like a pack of wolves, man, they jump in on him, and they're just tearing away at Jey Uso. And then we get a little bit of a savior.
Oh, right. Which it's great too, because you got Drew McIntyre slowly making his way to the back, and he hears what's going on behind him. And so he stops and he looks, and he sees the Judgment Day beating down Jimmy, and the crowd's, you can hear him like, are you going to go save him? You're going to go save him. We're watching Drew go through these emotions like,
he's so conflicted. He's so conflicted.
Yeah.
Here.
And just as you think he's about to run back for the save, you hear Cody's music hit. He breaks to the ring and he's in for the save and saves Jay. And all we get is a long shot of Drew in the back still watching. And once he sees the saves made, he just disappears through the curtains and walks away.
It was so great. And it also, I didn't mention this before, but when Drew McIntyre came out, he came out in like this all white gear, this white knee pads, white kilt, which like white indicates to me like the good guy, like he's a baby face. But I think we all kind of feel like Drew might be on the cusp of that heel change, that heel turn. And just that image of him being so conflicted there at the end. And here we have Cody Rhodes coming in for the save. Like, it was so good because I feel like you've opened up now an avenue of Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre, or Cody and Jay versus Drew and Riddle, whatever it is. If we ever see Riddle again, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen with that cat? But no, I what you're describing right there was exactly where I was going with it. We're getting this darker Drew tease. You know, it started with him banking the chair off of Austin Creed's head. Or Xavier Woods, excuse me, not his up, down name, his wrestling name. Yeah, poor Xavier Woods eating a chair to the face, an Office Max Plus a wonderful model right to the head, and all that stuff. What's going on with Riddle? Yeah, I think we're going to see an evil Drew soon, and I'm here for that because he needs to get a little mean again. He needs to get back to that kind of rough guy.
Yeah, I agree because he's just not he's not and has not been doing it for me as a babyface for quite some time now, and I'm ready for a change. Just like you're ready for a change in Becky Lynch, and same for Drew McIntyre. And I believe he's gonna stay in WWE. I don't think he has intentions on leaving for greener pastures. Not that there are literally greener pastures in terms of money for him. I think WWE will pay him, but his character is so stale. And you saw it tonight or last night. It's Jey Uso was obviously the fan favorite here in this match, and they're both, and he's the heel coming trying to redeem himself, and here's Drew, who's been nothing but a good man and like a good superstar in this business, and they're just not feeling it. And I think we all echo that sentiment.
I think Drew McIntyre needs to go the route of the American Badass Undertaker, and what I mean by that is, we get it. He's the Scottish warrior, the Highland warrior. He comes out with his claymore. He wears his kilts and that's a image and a character that is no longer relevant in today's times. If you look at the scope, video games, everything, swords and sorcery are no longer cool right now. It's all about the future. And I think they just need to let Drew go back into being tough guy Drew and let him walk around in his leather jacket and his blue jeans in the back. And then when he comes out to the ring, just let him wear his trunks and that and come out to the ring, the big buff bruiser, and just let him go back to basics. He doesn't need to be carrying the sword anymore. We don't need to hear his theme song kills me. The horn, the bagpipes. It's to me, it's just like Seth Rollins' song when they sing, everybody sings Nails on the Chalkboard now. It's time to freshen it up. Freshen it up, sir.
Yeah, man, it's time to freshen it up. And it's also time to remind our listeners to follow us on all of our social medias. Check the show notes for all of those links. We're so glad you guys joined us. We love doing this. We can't wait to do more of it and look forward to our show dropping, like we said, every Tuesday nights and Saturday nights.
That's right. We'll see you this Saturday where we talk about what's happening with SmackDown. Also, this Saturday, the 23rd, me and Joe will be going to VPW, Valor Pro Wrestling, and we're going to check out a local independent match and see what they're all about and bring you our highlights of what we've experienced there. So, yeah, stay tuned for more wrestling-related content from the Super BodySlam Bros.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.